Hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shelby. I make non-toxic soy candles and try to spread as much happiness as I can through custom labeling and gifts. So it's been absolutely crazy in the studio this week. I got back from our Nebraska trip on Monday morning at 4 a.m. and I've just been going hard ever since I got home. We got 2 YouTube videos churned out this week because I was behind. I didn't get last week's posted because we were gone. And then I've been pouring so many candles and fulfilling tons of orders. It's been crazy. And what's even weirder is this is the type of chaos I expect during the holiday season, and it's just been crazy in the off season, and I'm loving it. And I'm loving that all of you guys are loving it too. I'm just so grateful for all of the love you're showing my small business. I couldn't do this without you guys. If you guys have been following along, you know that I have been working on my wildflower collection. And at the core of this collection is your birth months. And so I've been designing all these different labels. Took you guys with me while I was designing one of the labels in my last YouTube video. And I was planning on being done with that one. Something just clicked and I'm like, bing, I have an idea. So I've actually expanded this collection and there's literally so many labels. I'm probably not gonna be able to release them all, but I do like to have a big pool to choose from. And I like to put them on Instagram and let you guys vote on what you think it would look best in your homes or what you like best. And I'm really torn on this collection on if I want it to be a matte white label or if I want a clear transparent label. I can really envision both of them. So I guess I'm just gonna have to print a couple of them off and put it on a candle and see which one looks the best, and maybe you guys can vote on it as well and let me know, because I do want this collection to be more on the minimalist side. The labels are super clean. There's a lot of white background. Floral motifs are just clean black, thin lines. They're absolutely beautiful. I think that might pair really well with a transparent label. I'm not really sure. I need to clarify, these are going to be on a clear glass jar, not my amber jars. At the moment, I think I'm just gonna do an 8 ounce, but I have these really beautiful 16 ounce jars. They're not my normal mason jars. They're just a cylinder jar and they would be double wicked. They're kind of like my 16 ounce amber jars, except in clear, but these would have either like a cork lid or a wood lid, or maybe just a dust cover. Really go with like this subdued minimalist look. So anyways, I've been working on those and I've been running away with it. And while I was designing some of these yesterday, a memory popped up on my phone and it was this exact same day 1 year ago. And I was working on Halloween labels. I'm like, what? We are already a week into May. It's time to get to work on the fall collections. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, is how I am getting ready for the fall and winter seasons already this early in the year. So if you're in the home and gift industry, or really any type of product-based industry, you know that a big chunk of your yearly sales happens during the holiday season. That is the crazy busy time for everybody. Of course, we try to stretch this out through the entire year. We try to get these amazing sales throughout the year, but the holiday season is a great time to really capitalize within your small business. And if you're like me, the holiday season is the greatest time of the year. I really wish it was Christmas, not just Christmas. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of it. My mom used to go crazy and decorate for every season, every holiday. Bless her heart. I'm failing as a parent because I did not decorate for Valentine's this year or St. Patrick's Day, and my mother always did. And that gave me all of the feels. The smallest things, even if it was just putting a 4-leaf clover on the window, that was enough to give me all the feels. Anyway, totally squirreled off. So if you're wanting to capitalize in the holiday season and really boost your sales, I recommend starting on working on your fall and winter collections way ahead of time. I have not always done this. Actually, just in the last probably 3 years have I started to plan out my collections way out ahead of time, and it has been so helpful. And I need to clarify and say this is not just for the holiday season. I plan my collections out most of the time 6 months in advance, sometimes even 8 months in advance. And I'm going to get into why I do this and how it's been so helpful for me. You know, when I first started, I was just winging it in my candle business. And so each time a season would come around, I'd be like, oh, hey, it's September, let's create some fall candles. And then I would list them. And then, you know, I do the same thing for Christmas. And then Valentine's would roll around. And all of these holidays would come. And as soon as it kind of come into my mind, then I was all about designing. Well, that's great. Except for the holiday was within the month. And to be completely honest, that is not enough time. You can do it. I'm not saying that you can't. You can totally do it. And I know lots of creators that do. And if you work good under that kind of pressure and love that, go for it. However, I found this to be extremely stressful. And the perk to this was all of my designs were always on trend. You know, whatever was happening that month, man, I was completely on it. However, it was so much stress and so much work to get these collections designed, created, photographed, and then launched in a reasonable enough time that customers had time to shop the products, the listings had time to fall right with the SEO. It just created a lot of stress for me. And then what happens is when the busy season rolls around, if you're a one-woman circus like me, you're so busy working within your business that you don't have time to work on your business. And so what I was seeing was a lot of the designs that I created never even got launched because I did not have the time to go ahead and photograph them and promote them and even get them listed. Because all of this stuff, though they are relatively simple tasks, are a lot of work and they're very time consuming. What I like to do is about this time of year, each year, I start to get ready for Halloween, fall, winter, Christmas, whatever holidays and whatever types of events that go well with your business. This is when you need to start thinking of those types of products and your designs and what you might like to sell. And I know what you're thinking is, Shel, it's May. How am I supposed to even be in the Halloween spirit or Christmas spirit? I wish it was Christmas and fall 24/7, so it doesn't take very much for me to get in the spirit. However, what I do like to do is go to my mood boards on Pinterest or some Instagram accounts that I follow. They are niched down just to a certain season. So like they're showing all pumpkin spice stuff or all Christmas stuff. And I just like to refer back to these accounts or my Pinterest mood board to kind of get me in the feels for what I'm fixing to design. So that might be Thanksgiving, that might be Hanukkah, you know, whatever it may be. And it just kind of gets you in the spirit to think, oh, okay, this is what I need to be designing. So aside from brainstorming your collections or products and designing them, you also need to be thinking about your social media. And this is a really great time to actually begin to plan out some of your posts, some of your email newsletters, really anything that you can do ahead of time. I recommend doing it because what happens, especially in the candle industry, is we truly have candle season. And that runs from August to, you know, January, February, the winter months. And I remember the very first time that I got to experience this. I had not been in business long enough to experience the shift into candle season. And it was the 1st of August. And I got probably 20 orders August 1st for, you know, these fall candles. And I was like, well, you know, that's cool. You know, a post probably hit or, you know, one of my Etsy listings is getting traction or something. And then I woke up the next day and there was, you know, 15 more orders. And then the next day there was 17 more orders. And I began to realize that this was not just a one-day deal. I was not really prepared for that. So, you know, when you're smooth sailing through the spring and summer months and you're pouring candles and you've got some time to do some designing and stuff, just get prepared mentally and physically for what's going to come. And so everybody knows consistency is key. You know, if you're going to do a newsletter once a week, well, in the busy season, you can't just drop off and not do a newsletter every week, you know? And so if you have those planned out, that just saves so much time and stress during peak season. I love the holidays. I love spending time with my family during the holidays. And a lot of times certain activities don't happen. And I feel like sometimes I get so caught up in working within my business that, you know, a lot of those things slip. So if you're already missing out on some of those types of things with your family, the last thing you want to do is try to create a collection or create all these posts on Instagram. So take this spring and summertime and plot out your social media posts. And I'm not saying you have to do it to the letter. Just get a general idea of, all right, this is my collection. This is what I'm going to want to say. And you can always alter these and edit these going forward. But I think it's really important that if you're going to make a design and photograph it, you might as well get all of this footage and all of this content ready to be posted several months in advance and get it ready to post later on in the busy season. Another thing you're probably thinking as I'm talking is, well, how do I know what's going to be trending in 6 or 8 months? This is where your market research comes in. And I do have to note how important market research is 365 days of the year. I conduct my own market research at least once a week. I do not mean like one search and you're done. I mean like wholeheartedly jump in and research your niche, research your market, your sector, figure out what colors people are liking, what moods they're feeling. The economy makes a huge part in how people feel and consumer spending. Really try to understand your target audience and what they're feeling and what they want, and then try to design things or purchase products that both align with your business and then appeal to your customer. I do recommend staying on top of this. Like I said, I do market research once a week. Seasonal trends are going to come and go, but what I've noticed is that as a general rule, an aesthetic is going to remain the same from, let's say, January to December, or remain similar enough that your products are not going to be outdated within the year. You might need to change some detail, change the way it's being promoted, that type of thing, just because current events change, the economy changes, the way people feel changes, and that plays a big part in the things that they purchase. And so you don't want to go spend a lot of time and money on something that really is not going to appeal to your customer by the time that it's time to sell it. So where this all comes into play when you're designing your products is, all right, let's say it's May. Okay, so Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas are the collections that I am mainly focusing on right now. I have a general idea of what people are feeling like, and that is going to transcend into these later months. And I'm going to take market research from several years prior and see what were good sellers, what were not good sellers, what were new best sellers last year that maybe were not trending the years before. So if you have been in business for a few years, you can conduct market research on your own products and look at your own analytics and kind of run with that. The biggest thing is to just pay attention to all of the details that are changing throughout the year. Let's say modern farmhouse was a thing in January, but it's trending down. I just need to see where that's going. Is it going more minimalist, going more vintage? Which way is it going? And that doesn't mean that I'm gonna like change my entire jar style or change all of my labels. That just means I'm gonna make fine-tuning tweaks to appeal later in the months because I can see that's where my customers are going. So now for the tools that I use for said market research. Pinterest and Google are two of my most favorite tools to use to conduct market research. If you have a Pinterest business account, you have their business hub at your disposal, and it is so incredibly helpful. In your analytics tab, you can find not only analytics on your own shop and your own niche, but all of Pinterest as a whole. You can see what's trending seasonally. You can see what's trending based on category. You can find your niche or several categories that your niche might fall under and see where these trends are going. I will say these are previous trends. So like yellow daffodils were trending upward in April last year. They think that they're going to trend upward this year. Now, in terms of the forecasting and the foreshadowing, Pinterest does release a trend catalog. I don't know if it's quarterly or yearly, I don't remember, but they'll send you an email and they basically say, hey, this is what we think is going to be hot this year. This is what people are searching. This is what people are interested in. And then of course, when those trends start to pick up, you see a lot of pinners pinning this type of content, and you know that is where everybody's aesthetic is going towards. So Pinterest is a big one. If you do not have a Pinterest business account, you just have a normal personal account, I recommend getting your business on Pinterest for a lot of reasons, not just exposure, but the tools that you have within the business hub are so incredibly useful and they're free. So I 100% believe Pinterest is the place to be. I also use Google. I do have Google Analytics and all of that type of deal, but I'm talking about just a straight Google search. Now that Google is integrated with AI and all this stuff, you can do a lot of market research in your niche just from simple Google searches. Let's say you're into having a really brightly colored product. You can Google this and you can see, is this a trending right now? Is there certain colors that are trending right now? Is there certain events that this product would actually be trending for in the future? These are all types of things you need to think about with your product because, you know, I can hold up this piece of paper and say, hey, I have a piece of paper for sale, and everybody's gonna be like, cool, it's a white piece of paper. But if I were to promote it during back to school, this piece of paper just got a whole lot more interesting. So you just have to think about these things. When you conduct your market research, you'll start turning over rocks and finding certain places for your products and certain designs for your products that had never even crossed your mind before. And this is when you need to be open-minded with it and run with it. Another thing that I want to talk about in terms of designing your products and conducting your market research is please do not copyright. It is completely fine to follow somebody or see a design that you absolutely love and you just want to use that as inspiration, but please do not copy it. Please just take your inspiration and turn it into your own. One, as a maker and a designer, this is the absolute worst thing somebody could do. You don't know how many times a year I have to go and check Etsy, I have to go and check Google to see if people are stealing my designs and selling them as their own. And you would be shocked at how many people do this. And they will take my actual pictures and try to sell them as their own. Then I have people who see my products and they will literally use the exact same wording, the same layout, and just change the font a little bit and then say that it's their own. And that's so frustrating because as a designer, I spent a lot of time and effort and money into creating my products, and to have somebody just piggyback off that is so incredibly frustrating. So just be super careful when you are conducting your research. Being inspired by other people's work is amazing. And I think that's where a lot of us do draw some of our creations or some of our ideas is you see butterflies, so you turn and create a butterfly collection. That's completely fine. Just don't copy somebody's labeling or somebody's product verbatim, because that's just icky. And legal actions could be taken against you. Another thing that you got to be super careful of, especially if you're in the candle industry, is your candle names. A lot of these candle names are actually copyrighted, and some businesses are more proactive in taking legal action than others are. So whenever you are creating a candle name, it's best to check and see if the name has been copyrighted. A simple Google search will get you to the right page. And I can link below the copyright database that I use. It is public to everybody, so that way you know that you are not stepping on anybody's toes, because the last thing you want to do is have a best-selling item and then get an email 2 months down the road that says, hey, we are suing you for copyright infringement. We don't want to do that. Another question I get a lot in terms of product creation and launches is, okay, cool, I'm going to do a Halloween launch. How many products should I launch? And there's really no cut and dried answer to this. It's really just what you can handle, and be super careful with the workload that you take on. When you're in the designing process, a lot of times these designs just flow out of you. Like for example, me, I have 23 wildflower label ideas that I have turned into actual creations in this last week. Am I going to launch all 23 of them? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on what I think I can get done before this launch on the 24th. Anyway, only launch what you can handle. And I think it's great to create several designs or have a lot of ideas in mind and then narrow them down when it gets closer to your launch date. Obviously, if you're purchasing products, you can't do that. This is something that you need to decide, okay, I'm going to launch 3 products in this collection and instead of 11. You don't want to be stuck with all of that inventory. You have to be realistic with yourself on what can I actually handle. I'm going to have to photograph and list these items. I'm going to have to promote them all over my social media, my newsletter, ads, whatever it may be that you do. And this is going to take a lot of time. Then I'm either going to have to make the products, or I'm going to have to ship the products, or I'm going to have to make and ship the products out. And it begins to turn into the snowball effect when you have 30 or 40 items that you are releasing. The other thing you need to think about is, are these going to be restocks? Are these going to be permanent collections? Or are these going to be a one-time sell out and then move on to the next season or collection? So just be careful on the workload you can handle. Also pick an amount of products that allows you to stay on your release schedule. For example, I'm going to try really hard to have 2 releases every month up until November. I have all of my collections planned. I sat down yesterday and planned them out to the letter. I have all my collections planned from today going forward till the very end of December. And I have all the details filed away and ready to begin the creation process. And I'm going to be careful that I do not launch too many products in each collection so that I can stay on this 2-week, hopefully, 2-week schedule. That's a lot of products, that's a lot of launches, and I don't know if I can adhere to it, but people love consistency. We love consistency as makers, but your audience loves consistency too. And if they know they're gonna see new bi-monthly collections on a certain date each month, that gets them excited. And then they are waiting for your products instead of you just throwing it out there like confetti and them trying to step around it. So if it's only 1 collection per month that you can handle, or 1 collection every 6 weeks that you can handle, or 3 collections, or 4 collections a month, whatever it may be, just make sure that you can stay on your schedule. That way you can create this consistency for yourself, for organizational purposes, and for your customers, so that way they can get excited and they know what to expect from you. The last thing I want to talk about is the timing of your collection launches. This is like a good gazillion-fold topic, especially if you're selling in multiple places. I personally like to release my products way ahead of time, simply because I rely heavily on SEO for Etsy and Shopify, and you do need quite a bit of time for your listings to start to hit in the SEO. So I do like to do them at least a month ahead of time, and about 2 weeks out before the actual collection launch is when I begin to start my social media posts, in my email newsletter, that type of thing, just so that way I have plenty of time to get the items listed, let the SEO do its thing, and then have time to market the collections as well and present them to my customers. Hey, you're gonna launch a bunny collection for Easter, and your launch date is 1 week before Easter. And let's say you started your design process 2 weeks prior. You now have 2 weeks to create all your designs, get them photographed, get your newsletters out, and promote on social media. And then by the time you get all of this done, your collection launch is the week before Easter. You have to get all these items to your customers before Easter, because after the fact, they will have no use for the product. This type of timeline doesn't work, especially if it's a holiday related launch. I think your launch date, like in terms of people are seeing it, they can buy it, needs to be at least 1 month prior to the holiday. That might seem like an overkill, and it might seem like people aren't going to be interested. They need that much time to start seeing your product, being able to purchase your product, to actually make the correlation in their brain that they even want to buy your product. Then once they do buy it, you need enough time to get it to them. Be really careful on your timing of your collection drops. I think the holiday season is one of the hardest for collection drops, because people are still really into fall and Thanksgiving up until December 1st. December 1st gets here, the starting gates open, and everybody all of a sudden shifts to Christmas. And that is really, really hard, especially if you are a make to order type business like myself, because that doesn't give you hardly enough time to get new products in front of your customers and have the time to make them and get them shipped so that they arrive on time, because we all know the mail gets crazy during the holiday season. So I like to start my Christmas promotions clear back in November and start to get people excited, so that way they're ready to purchase before Black Friday. So that way I'm not like counting solely on Black Friday and then getting into the grind of, oh my gosh, I want to take as many orders as I possibly can so I don't miss out on this money up until the USPS guaranteed delivery cutoff date. So as you're planning your collections going forward, really think about the timing, really give yourself enough time to design, promote your products, and also give your customers enough time to purchase them and enjoy them. The whole point of this entire process is to create something and give it to another person to create joy in their life. And so just be sure that you're thinking of all these things as you create your product launches. Also, don't want you to freak out, because this does sound like a lot. And it is, and it's a work in progress. We're all in a work in progress. I for sure have not perfected this. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now. I have not perfected this. I'm still trying to get on a product launch schedule to begin with. I do understand picking certain collections that I do want to launch ahead of time, designing all them. I have that under control. But the whole being on a schedule thing, I'm working on that too. Don't freak out. Don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. These are just tips that I have learned over a period of time that got me in a bind that I hope will help you all going forward. They are not set in stone. They are not something that you have to do. They're just little tidbits and experiences that I want to share with you guys, so that way you can enjoy working in your small business, you can enjoy working on your small business, and your beautiful products get to be dispersed out into the world, and that your wonderful customers get to enjoy them. So thank you guys for sitting down with me and having this little chat. It is 9:06 and we got the wax pot going, so we are going to pour some wholesale candles. And I think I'm going to take you guys along for this one. So I will see you guys in just a minute. Okay, I had to just pop in and talk about these favors I'm about to pour. They're scented in sea salt and orchid. It is for a baby shower. This customer has purchased from me before. She has purchased bridal shower favors and baby shower favors and all kinds of things, and I appreciate her more than she knows. But I'm super excited about this particular set of favors because of the custom label she's asked me to create for her. So the theme for this baby shower order is, get ready, locally grown. So adorable, like farmer's market style, and I cannot wait to create this. We're starting from scratch on this one. She contacted me and said, hey, this is the theme that we're going with, and I said, send me a picture of your invite so I kind of get the vibe of colors and stuff. It is so adorable. So I just want to say you guys are going to see a brand new label come to life, hopefully in this video, and I'm just so excited about it because it's going to be so cute. Okay, I'm so excited. It's finally time to work on this custom label I was telling you guys about. The theme is locally grown baby. It's so cute. So I'm starting from scratch. I have sketched up a few things, and then I do have some clip art that I'm going to incorporate in there, and she had specifically asked to put my baby poem on this label. If you're not familiar, it's just a special little prayer poem. I've put it on tons and tons of baby shower labels. It's just kind of something that comes from my shop. I'm gonna get this worked up. This is gonna take quite a while, so I'm gonna time lapse it just because it would be very tedious and monotonous over and over again. And then I will show you the finished product. I am so excited. I cannot wait. Okay, I truly don't know if you guys are ready for how cute these turned out. I did two for her because she had something she wanted at the top. I did think it made the label a little bit crowded, but I wanted her to have both options because everybody has a certain image in mind of what they want them to look like, and so I like to give options. So are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is label number 1. This is the prayer that I was talking about that you see in my shop a lot for baby shower favors, and they can customize with the baby's name right here. I just put baby's name because I'm not exactly sure what the baby's name is, and whenever I send this to her, she can let me know, and she might end up wanting it in a different font or all in the same font, but I like to make the name stick out because it's super cute. So this is option number 1, and this is option number 2. So this was on the top of her invite, and she mentioned about putting that on the label too. So it does look a little crowded. You know, when you think about this being on a 2.5-inch size label, there's a lot going on here, but it might be exactly what she wants. And so I'm gonna give her this option. The circles that you're seeing on both labels is just an outline showing her where the label will cut. And so that is not going to be part of the label. So which one do you guys like? Do you like 2 or 1? So this is number 1. This is number 2. Let me know.